And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is our 2025 MLR Week 5 preview of the 2025 MLR season. There's only 4 games this weekend, and they're all on Saturday, so it's a full day of rugby goodness for you. As always, don't forget you can watch every game live and on demand if you're in the United States on ESPN Plus. Of course, if you're international, you can watch it all on the Rugby Network. If you don't want to pay for the ESPN Plus, which it's honestly a very great deal, then if you got to wait 72 hours later to watch all these games on demand on the Rugby Network if you're in the United States. So again, 4 games all on Saturday. Let's get to it. First game, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are at SeatGeek Stadium as the Chicago Hounds host Old Glory DC. Old Glory just squeaking by Anthem, and then Chicago, of course, looking very dominant against Miami last week. Surprisingly, Chicago has not beaten Old Glory in three showdowns between these two teams. There is 2 wins by Old Glory, 1 draw. So Chicago yet to hold a victory against Old Glory. I'll be honest with you, I think this will be the first time that Chicago beats Old Glory. Chicago, like I've mentioned before, looking like the team we've always thought they were going to be. Chris Latham, who is now the Chicago head coach, really has done a great job with this team, and they look unbeatable, or they look pretty unbeatable right now. Comparatively to the other top teams like Houston and San Diego, I feel that they'll win against Old Glory. Then we move an hour later. New Orleans, coming off of the bye, goes to Veterans Memorial Stadium to take on the reigning, defending, two-time MLR champions, the New England Free Jacks, who have been struggling this season, surprisingly. NOLA, as I mentioned before, coming off of a bye. So, so far, pretty much every team that's come off of a bye has not won the game that they've come back on. Surprisingly, these two teams have played against each other quite a bit. This is going to be the 11th time that they've faced against each other. New England has the edge, just slightly, 6 wins to NOLA's 4. Last season, they traded victories, 1 apiece. As I mentioned before, NOLA coming off of a bye. New England, I really feel, even though they've been struggling quite a bit, they barely lost to Seattle in a very tough game. I think New England will win this one, and that will allow the Free Jacks to get back to their winning ways. And let's get back to the rest of the games on this week's slate. 2 games pretty much in the evening, afternoon, 1 really late game if you are on the East Coast. 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Utah Warriors go over to Miami at the Baptist Health Community Field to take on the Miami Sharks. Utah surprisingly coming off of a very lopsided loss to the Houston SaberCats, and Miami unfortunately losing to Chicago in a very physical game. These two teams have only played against each other once, 2019, and Miami got the win at Miami, just barely beating Utah. As I mentioned before, both these teams coming off of a loss. The Utah one was really, really surprising for me. Miami is looking really good, though, this season. It's tough because Utah is traveling over to the east, and I feel that travel is going to hurt Utah. This is going to be a close one, but I'm going with Miami to win against Utah at home in that clash. And then the last game of the weekend, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 10 p.m. East Coast kickoff. So a very late game, but every time, no, the rugby is good at any hour. It is a West Coast showdown. Seattle Seawolves, the only other two-time MLR champions besides New England Free Jacks, taking on RFCLA, who have yet to win a game. Seattle just got their first win, defeating the before-mentioned New England Free Jacks. These two teams have faced off against each other twice last season. Both games pretty lopsided victories for Seattle. It's frustrating because as a fan, I really do believe there is no reason why. And I'm going to do a video, kind of a preview video for RFCLA fans a little bit later on in the week. There's no reason RFCLA can't win this game. I feel that there's, especially after the New England game, there's been proven quite a few holes in Seattle. I'm hoping that RFCLA, though, can kind of clean up some things because they have a lot of holes right now as well, especially when it comes to penalties. It's going to be a physical game. I feel West Coast, all the Western Conference games are very physical teams. You have Utah, you got Houston, you got San Diego, Seattle. LA has to be physical in this game, but I feel, especially with the talent that LA has, and I'm not saying this as a fan, but I really feel the talent on the pitch should be able to deliver a victory. It's going to be a close one, and LA cannot suffer the penalties that they keep having and the cards that they're having. Otherwise, there's no way you could beat a team like Seattle. But if the crowd is big enough, and I know you LA fans are out there watching, come out and watch the game. I know it's going to be cold, but nothing warms up the heart like a good RFCLA game. So let's go, RFCLA. I got you winning this one. Let's go! So that is going to be our last game of the weekend. Again, don't forget, guys, all these games are going to be on Saturday. You can watch them all on ESPN Plus or the Rugby Network if you're international fans. Should be some exciting games of footy. And yeah, as always, I'm going to have my recap video, power rankings, preview of next week, all coming at you. And don't forget, I know I have some fans out there that are so excited about the upcoming WER Women's Elite Rugby. That I will be doing a video on that. That will be dropping sometime at the end of the weekend. More than likely, you guys will see it on Monday. But there is a lot of rugby still to come in this 2025 year. So super, super excited by that. Thank you for sticking with the channel, and that's all going to be coming at you in just a couple of weeks. And I'll have a couple of interviews, more interviews coming up at you as well. So a lot of exciting stuff happening on the channel. So thank you very much for your support. Thank you, as always, for catching all the rugby action with Major League Rugby, and I'll see you on the pitch.